Okay, so I didn't make it on Thursday. Take it easy on me. Um, for some reason, it's not like I had a shit ton of books to read. It's just that I'm looking at them right now. When I look over that way, I'm looking at the stack of books that I'm going to talk to you guys about today. When I look over there and I look at the stack of books, it does not look like a big stack. However, I don't know what it was about this week, but for some reason, like, there were a couple days where I was aware of the stack. A couple times I was aware of the stack. I was aware of it. I was aware of it. I was aware of it. And I had read some of it. And things just kept coming up. And I did not finish until like about 20 minutes ago. This is real. I did not finish the comics I'm going to talk to you guys about until about 20 minutes ago, where I immediately chose my top three. Let's be more specific here. I immediately chose two of my three. Two of the three were immediate standouts, and then I sat there and I looked at about three others and tried to decide which one was going to be thrown in with the rest of the bunch. Since I'm only doing this on Friday, this is still going to be a spoiler light review. Um, yeah, okay, so I didn't even do an intro yet, did I really? Um, I did a cold intro, but for those of you that have stuck around through this little um, journey into the mind of Carrie Quinn, this is the officially unofficial geek channel. This is my weekly comic review, and it's still Friday. Still Friday. Yes, folks, it is 9:57 p.m. Central Time, Friday night. I still got it in under the wire. Woo! Let's get started, shall we? Technically, this is a book from last week, but I found out about it and added it to my stack this week. We're going to talk about it anyways. It's called Space Job. It's from Dark Horse. Issue 1 of 4. David Goodman, Jordi Esquin Laroche, Olivero Saraseca, Mauro Mantella. Okay, so I apologize if this gets back to any of them and I am totally butchering their names. I like to try and like do an actual serious try of the name. Um and if I still fail, at least I tried. Um so what's really interesting about Space Job is it's basically like mix The Office and things like The Office with Star Trek. Um is there anything else besides The Office that I can use as an example here? Um yeah, we can go ahead and we can say this is like mixing The Office with Star Trek. Um, you have a main character that you think is going to be like your your focus in the book for 4 issues. You go into it thinking that that's what's going to happen, but then A surprise happens about midway through the book, and it totally turns that on its ear. And you're like, okay, where is this going to go? There's some slapstickiness, um, and some weird kind of like slapsticky humor. I can also probably throw the IT crowd in there as an example. IT crowd, plus Star Trek, where sometimes it's the track. See what I did there unintentionally? The track that they're going on with this is very slapsticky, and sometimes, depending on one's most acknowledged form of humor, there might be points where it doesn't feel like the story is actually going anywhere. There is a little bit of something at the end that is kind of like a okay, so, and it's kind of like there's like hints that something's going to go on with this other character um at some point, and it kind of puts a little bit of a cliffhanger there, just a little bit of one. um I'm not really sure at this point if there's a place for me with a book like this. Um, when the next one comes out, it's probably going to be a game day decision. Um, I might try reading it another time before I make that decision. But let's face it, I've got a lot of stuff I'm reading, so that might not happen. I might give it the second issue. It's only 4 issues for this story, so I might go there with the second issue just to see if getting the other two are worth it. But I'm not sure it's really something that there's like elements of it that I thought were very funny and did make me laugh. And that's always something that I crave in the stuff that I'm reading, is something to make me laugh, because I think sometimes we get bogged down with so many superheroes and action based stuff that we don't actually get too many moments to laugh. And that's what's kind of been appealing to me lately with some of the new stuff, that's kind of different than what I usually read, that I've been throwing into the mix, is stuff that is kind of light, and that's definitely light. So next book we're going to talk about um, Wildcats number 4. Um, Major ending on this one. If you are a fan of all the members of the Wildcats, you're probably already reading this book. If you are not a fan of any of the members of the Wildcats, you're probably not reading this book. Um, so last we left the Wildcats, Grifter had been teleported into the action to help everyone out. He got stuck there because of the route that everything was taking. He got stuck there when everyone was pulled back. And this is very much, it's kind of like the end of what is it? Is it the end of? There's a Vietnam War movie where the guy is like running for the plane, the helicopter, the last helicopter out of Saigon, and the name is escaping me right now. And it's very much that, except mix Grifter in, and that's kind of the situation that Grifter's in right now. Except for the fact that the guy in the Vietnam movie knew where he was, Grifter does not. So, um, and everything is going on around them. People back home are, trying to push people along to go back and find him. And that's basically the premise of this book this month. So, yeah, that's basically it. And there's an ending to it. There's an ending, folks. I can't talk about it because I'm doing light spoilers. There's an ending. There's an ending I'm not necessarily happy with right now. Um, and the thing is if you've read it or you're going to read it, once you get to the ending and you know anything about my show, you understand why I'm not necessarily thrilled about the ending right now. Not because it was badly written or it wasn't entertaining. I'm just not thrilled with the ending. If you are familiar with the show and you've been watching me for a while, you know why. It's very upsetting. Anyways, next book we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the DC Universe Lazarus Planet Dark Fate issue. We had stories involving the Flash, Huntress, Doom Patrol, and this character. God, it was one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite stories actually, in the whole thing. The Envoy Spirits World story. Um, Let me see here. That was actually one of my favorite stories in the whole damn thing. Um, let's see here. Uh, 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 uh. Uh, Xanthi Sao, I'm guessing is how you pronounce it. It's Xanthe, space Zhou. If I'm mispronouncing that, please let me know because I actually really like the character and I've never seen them before. Um, so we had a Huntress tale that basically just took Huntress right back to Arkham Tower to deal with everything going on involving the Lazarus Reign. And it looks like they're saying that that story is going to continue in the summer. So either we're going to get more Huntress or we're going to get something more involving Arkham Tower. Um, yeah, maybe I'll remember it when it comes around in summer. Um, we had a little story involving Doom Patrol that was fun. Um, I don't have a lot of experience reading Doom Patrol. Um, but I did very much like the story. It's very much a, we will come help you with your problem, but we're not going to do it the way you want us to. And that's basically the premise. They come and they're called on to help somebody, and they're like, okay, so here's the thing. We're going to help you, but we're also going to help them. And that's the premise of the story. And I kind of liked that idea. Um, that's kind of how they were going about the situation. Like, yes, we're going to help you, but we don't necessarily subscribe to what you think is needs to happen here. Um, and that was very nice. There was kind of a weird s- story, and I don't know, like I don't know a lot about the Flash. Um, in the comic book world, I watched many episodes of Grant Gustin's The Flash, which is Arrowverse and which is completely different. Um, However, this is kind of like one of these things where like they're in a tourist town. There's these two people. They're in this touristy town, and one is pretending to be the Flash and dressing up like for touristy shows. And then something called the Still Force comes in, and I'm not exactly sure what the Still Force is. Um, but then yeah, it legit didn't make much sense to me, but that's okay. It's introducing a new character called Circuit Breaker, which is the actor that was pretending to be the Flash and then takes on the Still Force. Um, hmm. As you can see, I was underwhelmed by that. Um, and then you have the Xanthi um, story that involves it's they seem to be kind of like a necromancer. That's the closest thing I can find in my knowledge to connect the character to is a necromancer. Except for it's kind of like a so if you're familiar with gaming, there's like paladins, which are knights, and then you have anti-paladins that are like um, evil. Okay, and paladins are like good. So it's like if you were to take the idea of a necromancer and apply it to that kind of concept, where there's like the antagonist necromancer that's raising the dead, and then you have the protagonist type of necromancer that's like trying to send the dead back where they came from. And that's kind of what Xanthi is. And Xanthi is in a graveyard, and all these vampire ghouls coming out, and they start fighting them. And oh, look, hey, Cassandra Cain's there. Batgirl, Cassandra Cain. Nice. So Cassandra Cain's like, hey, I'll help. And Cassandra Cain helps. Um, and it's a good story. It's a fun story, and I'm not going to tell you what happens because spoiler free show, everyone. But it's worth it. I like it, and I'm interested to see where this goes. Yeah, there you go. Um, oh, another appearance by another character that's kind of cool, and they have a couple different appearances here in our comic stack. John Constantine also shows up in that story, and I am a sucker for Constantine. Um, Overall, I'm gonna say that the Lazarus Planet stuff has been kind of lackluster for me. Um, there are things here and there that are interesting. Um, but it's kind of like my reaction to Fear State. It's like we were promised something and it hasn't been delivered on yet. That's my viewpoint. That's my viewpoint. Um, we were promised earth-shattering um, changes. We were promised lots of really, they talk this up quite a bit. Um, to have it be not all that interesting. Um, and lo and behold, we have the Omega issue for next week. And there are certain things that did not get developed on very much, and they're going to try and tie these all up in one issue. Possibly two, considering the fact that we also have Batman versus, or is it Robin versus Batman or Batman versus Robin? Y'all know what I'm talking about. We have that coming after the Omega issue. Um, which is really weird because Omega is the end, but yet it's not the end. We have that, and then we have these other issues that are going to be coming that deal with Wonder Woman and Shazam, even a little bit further down the road. So Omega is not really Omega, guys. I hate to be that person, but when you talk about something being an alpha and you talk about something being an omega, there's a very clear connotation that comes with that that is not being adhered to here. It's just not. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on, shall we? Actually, I saw this and I added this pretty last minute to my stack because I had heard about it, then I forgot about it, and then I saw it again and I added it. And this is Chilling Adventures presents. It's a one shot. Chilling Adventures presents the Betty, the Final Girl from Archie Horror. This is a little bit of an anthology type of situation here, where you have the main setting that it's Betty is hanging out at Veronica's um, cabin, so to speak, and while Veronica is off trying to find food and get food from them from town, you have Betty is watching Veronica's nephew, not nephew, cousin, and they have like the main story, and then they have like all the little stories, which is kind of like a cute little anthology horror type series or like movie, um, where you have the main story and then you have the different offshoot stories, and it's basically like um, the different offshoot stories are set up so that it's like Betty is watching horror movies with characters from the Archie universe as characters. Um, it's just a one shot, um, little twisty, little turny, the way those kind of things are, you know. But I was never thinking that I was gonna read a Archie horror book like Betty Final Girl and think I was actually going to be scared. Um, so I wasn't reading it to be scared necessarily. Um, I was reading it for the campy goodness. And it delivered. It really did. There were elements about it that I didn't think that even with something being twisty and turny, um, stuff didn't line up. I really loved the art that was in there from Laura Braga. Um, that was another selling point because she had done um, a Harley Quinn annual a couple of years ago, where Harley had, I believe this was her that did this. Harley had been kidnapped by Keepsake. And I really enjoyed that one. And I really enjoyed the art because I wasn't so into Riley Rossmo's art style. So when it switched over to, and I believe it was Laura Braga, and if it wasn't, oh well. um, I'm pretty sure it was because I remember making note of it and like being like, okay, this is really nice. It's not hyper realism, but it's got a little bit of a realism quality to it. I believe she did do she did do the cover. So like, it's very much like that. And I really liked that kind of art style. It seemed really refreshing. when I first saw it in Harley, the Harley annual a couple years ago. Um, so yeah, I mean, it was overall it was a lot of fun. It was campy fun, and I recommend it if you haven't read it. It's cute. I liked it. Next one that I'm going to be talking about is I Am Batman number 18. This is a continuation of the story involving what we found out in the last issue about how Jace Fox's mom is not really his mom. And oh, by the way, we're going to tell you your mom is not really your mom, while also telling you that your mom, that's really your biological mom, has been kidnapped and being held for ransom. By the way, your little sister has, decided that she is going to become a superhero as well. But the good news is she's actually not bad at it. I like Tiffany. Like, seriously. I like Tiffany, the little sister that basically felt that fierce urgency of now in her neighborhood trying to help out people. And she puts on a mask and she grabs some, weapons and goes at it. I actually really did appreciate that, and I actually really did like that. But this is the continuation and the conclusion of that story. Um, it's just it's a regular action um, issue. There's some great um, female characters displayed in this issue. Um, I just, the drama with Jace and his family, I thought that was starting to calm down, but they had to reintroduce that drama again. I'm not sure how I feel about that drama being reintroduced again. Um, it's like, okay, we've done this. Let's move on. But with that being said, it was not a bad issue. I'm just thinking we could have found some different drama to throw in there. Um, yeah, aka Lucius Fox. Bad guy sometimes. Um, okay, so next book that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about another DC event. Well, no, excuse me. Let's rewind that. A Milestone Media event. Milestone Media is associated with DC Comics. They're going through their 30th anniversary as well. Because a lot of people possibly know that Image is going through their 30th anniversary. Well, so is Milestone Media. They have come back and they are here and they are rocking it. And they have their own event going on that just started this week. It's Icon versus Hardware. We got Icon versus Hardware #1, that Dennis Cowan art. Hello. That classic Dennis Cowan milestone art. This cover is not Dennis Cowan. I know, I'm like flashing the cover. Dennis Cowan art. The art is on this is not Dennis Cowan. This is Canon White and Chris Sotomayor. Moyer or Mayer. Um, let's see here. So now that I'm saying they're like, it's Dennis Cowan. Is it really? Now I'm gonna check because, well, I don't feel like enough of a dork lately. Do we have a title page? Not yet. Not yet. Is the title page like at the end? Because that sometimes happens, folks. That sometimes happens. Oh, it is. Yes, Pencils in the Issue by Dennis Cowan and Yasmin Flores Montez. Yeah. Okie dokie. All right. Yes, there is some Dennis Cowan goodness in this issue. Um, I think anyone that's having the opportunity to interact with Dennis Cowan, sometimes he does enter chats of channels and he is very friendly. Um, and this, but aside from that, this issue is interesting. Um, I just started reading Static I think it was last week, and this is my first foray into Icon and Rocket, besides the little tidbit of them being in Blood Syndicate. Um, and their characterizations, they're interesting. Gives a in the beginning, it gives a little bit of a history of Icon and Rocket and of Hardware. So you have the whole previously in Hardware and previously in Icon and Rocket. That's very helpful. Thank you very much. Um, I did not have any problems following in that sense. It's an interesting concept involving time travel and butterfly effects and the effect of time travel, very similar to a flashpoint type of situation, um or it could possibly be very similar to a flashpoint type of situation. You have definitely got, by the end of this, a lot of different things happening because of that time travel effect. And the issue is a lot of build up to the point where you are at the end, where you know the shit seems to really be hitting, starting to fly up at the fan, and the shit's probably really going to hit the fan in the next issue. So that will be interesting to see what happens there. Yes, I am drinking coffee at 10:27. Yep, I am. Okay, so we have reached a point where we have gotten to my three favorites of the week. Um, the first one we're going to talk about. This book is just solid storytelling, just palette cleanser, point A to point B kind of storytelling. There's a little bit of some twisties that are starting to happen, but they're done in a way that I'm not completely confused. I can still try to figure it out, but I like it because I also cannot figure out what the hell's going on. Um, a lot of times in some certain situations like that, probably about 75 to 80% of the time, I'm going to say maybe 85% of the time, I'm guessing by, a little bit into it, exactly what's going on, who's the killer, what's going on. I'm guessing it. I'm guessing the whole plot. And then I can really just kind of go away and not worry about it. But what I like about this is that I have not figured it out. This is issue 4. I have not figured out who the hell ordered the hit on Cherish's dad. I haven't figured it out. There's people that seem to know who did it, and it seems like every turn that it takes, it's like an onion, and there's a new layer, and then you carve that layer off, and you're like, oh shit, there's another layer. You carve that off, and you're like, oh shit, there's another layer. And that's exactly what's happening here. It is I have described this before to people that it is um, smart, intelligent, badass women mixed with um, um, a revenge story, an avenge story, avenging somebody's death, mixed in with Inspector Gadget, and I stand by that. I stand by that in a very good way. And we have that there's only one moment where we have a little bit of a jump, and there are headers um, to indicate the jump where it's like, okay, so there was a scene that happens in the first issue that's kind of like, okay, here's this scene. It's like that whole idea of a story where you enter in and it's like you're in the thick of it, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna now take you back and tell you how we got here. Okay, well, it does that jump from where, okay, it goes from one point to, okay, now we're back there again. We're back there again. And that jump, ooh, whoops, whoopsies. My foot kicked that. That was bad. When that jump happens, it's it's jarring at first. But then you get it. You get it then. And then you start remembering, oh yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened before we came here. We went through all that stuff. That's what happened. So, it's really like sometimes your palate cleanser is the thing that you read because it's funny. Sometimes your palate cleanser is the thing you read because it's soapy and interesting and is a page turner. And that's what Cherish is. Dynamite. Let me see here. Let me give some names on this one. This is, if you haven't been checking it out, obviously this is issue 4. Um, it's worth it to go back. Katana Collins. What is the name on the artist? Gabriel Cadiano. Um, yeah. So this is Dynamite issue 4. I got this Ben Templesmith cover that I kind of really like. I did not pick out the cover either. That was picked out for me. And I really liked what he picked out. Good job, Joe. So, the next book of my top 3, and you see this, so you know exactly where I'm going with this. This is the final issue of the Batman Beyond the White Knight. What can be said about this? Issue 8. Sean Gordon Murphy, Dave Stewart. Y'all, this made me laugh, made me cry, made me cheer out loud while fucking reading it. Um, there's something about the way that this universe is written and presented that just makes me want more every time. I did not want this to end. I don't ever want it to end. I don't ever want it to end. Um, I can really tell where it would have been nice to have maybe a couple more pages here and there. Um, but this is already chock full. Like, look at that. And I'm gonna really just go there at the end. Like, you know how sometimes they have pictures and stuff in the end. There's really only just a few stuff at the end, like cover examples, everything like that. And then we have the whole like, hey, this is what's going to happen next in the world. So I'm pleased to say this is not the last Murphy verse that we're getting. I like that he came out right away. He was like, okay, guys, here's the thing. This is ending, but we're going to do more. And I'm looking forward to it. So one of the things I really loved about, in particular, this installment of the Murphyverse, and also as a whole, is being somebody that has a diagnosed anxiety issue, depression issues, all that, being somebody that does struggle with that, and to have throughout the issues of this particular story specifically showing that showing in a different way what other stories have tried to show about superheroes and heroes struggling with anxiety and mental health issues, and it does it in a way that it's just like, it's not just, it doesn't seem like it's just somebody saying, I think we're going to talk about mental illness today. um it feels like that it's somebody that understands, um and I do not know his life. I do not know what he does either. It feels like there is someone very close to him, at least, that struggles with this. Him being Sean Murphy, because he writes it in such a way that it doesn't take it over the top, but it is like another character in the story. And I really did appreciate that very much. And this is one of those things where it's like, it presents this again, it makes its appearance again in this issue. And the way it's handled was just like, that was really great. And I really appreciated that. Um, and I love this issue because it's like the whole gang is there and dealing with what's happening. And it's just, it's some good stuff here. Like I said, I laughed, I cried, I cheered out loud while reading it. Thankfully, I was in my apartment. And the only beings that had to hear me do that was Joe and the cats. And Joe had already read the issue at that point and knew very well that I was reading it. I knew very well that that was going to be my reaction because he knows me. You know, he knows me. He knows that was going to be my reaction. Um, but we're down to the last book of the week. It was worth the wait, y'all. I don't want that wait again, but it was worth the wait. My little variant cover. My little variant cover by Christian Moore right here. I love this. I love this cover. Okay, I'm going to be real with you. I loved the A cover as well. But this one was picked for me. Picked for us. I believe Joe picked it. Yeah. Um, this is Christian Ward on the variant cover. He does not do the art on the inside. However, I just love his command of color in this. Like, he really wowed me during the Aquaman Andromeda series and the interior work on that. And I love that this is kind of like, if you read this, the thing is that the idea of Swamp Thing underwater makes way more sense once you've read it. Okay? I'm just going to tell you that right now. Once you read it, the idea of this cover, Swamp Thing walking around underwater, makes more sense. So if you read the first issue over a year ago, but it kind of fell off your radar, and you're like sitting there saying, I don't know if I really care anymore. I was really into it when that first issue came out, and then they took forever with this damn thing, and I'm not sure I'm into it. Get over yourself. You're into it, go buy it. Buy it. Read it. Love it. Bask in the wonderful glory that is Jeff Lemire's writing. And Doug Mahnke's, art, because Jesus Christ. You open this shit and you start looking at it and you look at what he has done, like in this prestige format, prestige plus format, right? You have entire, I don't want to like let it stay for very long because I don't want to give anything away, but you have entire 2-page spread art like that. These are master works of art. Color. Like, I say the command of color here on this cover is something. Oh no, honey. The command of color paired with this story. Oh my god. Holy crap. Jesus. Okay, so let me get you caught up. If it's been a while, all the different avatars, or not avatars, but all the different dimensions, like the green, the red, all that, are pulling together. They're pissed off at humankind. They're going to destroy humankind and retake the earth. But that means killing all the humans. And that's a big no-no too, apparently. Yeah, it's a big no-no. I'm a human. I should be on the freaking side of humans staying alive. Okay. It's a big no-no. Constantine gets involved. The end of the last issue, Constantine raises Alec Holland from his, it's like dimension of heaven, where he has a young little girl, Teffy, and Abigail's with him. All that. So he has his special heaven place. He is cosmically pulled from there to fight for humans. And at first he's not having it. He's pissed off at Constantine because everybody's pissed off at Constantine because Constantine's a dick. But it's old man Constantine in this one. I know I was just talking about Constantine, but it's old man Constantine in this one. And I don't know what it is, but old man Constantine is just as arrogant and dicky as young Constantine. And I love him for it. Just this command of color and the usage of shading and lines, the color done by David Barron. Let's give let's give the props. Let's give the props because Jesus Christ, David Barron. Holy fuck. Piece of art between you and Doug Mahnke. This story is not only told, but it's like, it's the perfection of a comic medium is words and story told by not only words but also images on a printed page. Duh, right? And sometimes they mix together well, sometimes they mix together badly, and sometimes they elevate the medium and make you want to go crazy. If you're a creative person, you want to go crazy in a good way after reading this. You pine and you yearn to create something like, to be part of creating something like this. I don't know why. Like, oh my god, guys, seriously, fuck it. Seriously. Holy shit. You yearn, you yearn to do this. You yearn. If you're a creative person, all you think, why not me? I don't know what caused that book to take forever to come out, but I'm telling you, right now, it said at the end of the book it's supposed to come out. The next one is supposed to come out in March 2023. That's next month. That's next month. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting. It was just goddamn gorgeous, guys. Goddamn. Goddamn. And it's not all the coffee I've drank today. I can assure you of this. It's not all the coffee I drank today. Let's get another look. Let's see here. Like, trying to find something that's not completely like spoiler-tastic here, okay? Because you gotta like, you know, I'm making weird sounds here for Swamp Thing. Weird sounds for Swamp Thing. It's God as my witness. This, let's just take another look at that. Take another swig of that. I assure you, one, I'm going to read that next issue. Two, it better not take a goddamn year. Three, DC, whatever happened to make that issue take another year for you to release it, fix it. You should be handing Jeff Lemire anything he wants at this particular moment, because everything I have ever read by Jeff Lemire has been gold. That doesn't mean that he's never written any garbage. I'm just saying, my own perspective, the man is gold. The man is gold. Okay? He is gold. Him and freaking Murphy, man. As far as I'm concerned, they're both gold. Him, Ron V, Sean Gordon Murphy. Tom Taylor. They're all fucking gold. Gold. Thank you very much. That has been my TED Talk involving Swamp Thing and Jeff Lemire, and I honestly, like, that was just bloody awesome. Okay, guys, so I think you're done listening to me talk about comics for the day. I'm gonna go ahead and get this shit up on YouTube, and I'm moving soon. So I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I'm moving soon. I'm gonna try to do my videos like normal. It's gonna get rough in a couple weeks. Um, but follow me on Instagram. I will definitely keep everyone up to date. I might be putting shit together to make a little bit of an announcement soon, um, involving something I'm trying to do. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, I've talked your ear off enough about comics. I'm going to go ahead and bid adieu to you, dear listener, watcher, reader, whatever. My name is Carrie Quinn. I'm the officially unofficial geek. This is the officially unofficial geek channel. This has been your weekly comic review. Remember, keep your eyes and ears open. If you see something, say something. And remember, the complacent never make a difference. Keep that in mind, and I'll be seeing ya.